Hello, and welcome to your webinar. My name is Bill Mead, and David Risen and I own Oklahoma Mailing Equipment in Genesis of Oklahoma.
And in a recent webinar, we've actually discovered that you've combined your company names and logos into one, OMECorp-Genesis. We've known you've been able to get everything under one roof for some time. You just made it official.
That's right, Andy. OME's been meeting mailing and shipping needs for over 40 years now, and Genesis is several years into meeting all of your copying, storage, and imaging needs, as well as document management. By the way, he's Andy, your host.
Thanks. I kind of feel like an afterthought.
Let's not do this right now, Andy, in front of the viewers.
You're right. Let's get to the subject matter with tips that are guaranteed to save the viewers time and money.
Let's do it. Today we're going to be discussing 4 simple ways to reduce total postage costs that will be broken up into, of course, 4 main topics.
Brilliant.
Jokes from the peanut gallery.
Anyway, those 4 areas are combining statements, address quality, e-certify, and electronic delivery. All kidding aside, Bill, you've been able to use these principles successfully in a narrow niche, but will this work for everyone?
Yes. We've been able to employ these principles to great success, most recently with county treasurers. Absolutely, it will work for most anyone, but today I believe the best way to show you is in real-world applications and success stories.
The quicker we get to it, the quicker the viewers can start saving time and money.
I agree. Let's dive in.
Today in our webinar, we're going to peer directly into a specific application that exists in our county treasurer offices. Although we're speaking specifically about the tax statement in this webinar, the same information is good for all companies doing mass mailings. Just replace the tax statement with invoices or whatever you're mailing, and it will apply to you too. Let me set the stage so that our viewers can see the similarities in how they send their own mailings and what the county treasurers do with theirs. A county treasurer sends tax statements out twice per year. They receive the property tax notices from the assessor. Traditionally, it's printed and sorted by the treasurer for the post office. An average-sized county then utilizes anywhere from 10 to 25 people to manually sort based on different criteria set by each county. That can be sorted and grouped by address, name, mortgage code, or a number of other criteria. Don't forget that many individuals own more than one property, and mortgage companies and banks still receive statements on all the properties they hold. They then manually fold, stuff, and meter each piece for the post office. Wouldn't that be done for them with a folder inserter, Bill?
Yes. The real labor savings comes from using the folder inserter at this stage of the mailing, eliminating the need for what usually takes an entire office staff a week to accomplish into what 1 to 2 people can do in less than a couple days with a folder inserter, allowing your people to focus on tax collection and not the labor involved in the mailing process. Another nice thing a folder inserter can offer is closed-loop reporting, or reporting back to the treasurer when each and every tax statement printed was folded, inserted, and mailed to each taxpayer. It's just a part of the OMECorp-Genesis County Treasurer solution, and it has a built-in ROI.
That sounds familiar.
It should, Andy. We covered it in our last webinar. Built-in ROI simply means it pays for itself. A company's already spending the same money. We're just rerouting that money back to the company, and the solution doesn't cost more than the savings it provides. The savings begin immediately.
Let's now cover those basic principles that can save time and money for any company that does mass mailings. So why combine statements intended to the same recipient into the same envelope?
When we ask county treasurers, did you know it's possible to save 30 to 40% of the current postage and mailing costs on your tax notices by grouping multiple tax statements intended to the same recipient into the same envelope? Many of them say no or how.
And don't forget, this also works for invoices or any mass mailings. Here's a quick example. If you're currently sending 30,000 tax notices at 47 cents per piece, that would mean your current postage would be 30,000 times 47 cents, 47 cents being the retail price, equals $14,100. If you're able to combine and pre-sort your mail automatically, reducing your total cost of postage by an average of 35%. That would be $14,100 times 35% equals $4,900 in postage savings. The same is true for your second half's tax statements or monthly multiple mailings in some cases. So how do we achieve this?
It's simple. We match mailings based on most any criteria you set.
Let's say exact name and address is the criteria. Any and all tax notices that go to him will be merged into one envelope. Let's assume he receives 8 different tax statements. Before our NeoPost solution, you would have sent him 8 individual envelopes. Now you will send him one. Instead of 8 times 47 cents, $3.47 being the retail price, equals you pay $3.76. With the solution, it's 1 times 39.1 cents, 39.1 cents being the pre-sort price we now get you, and second ounce rides free. You pay 39.1 cents. That's a savings on Andy Smith Jr.'s mailing of more than $3.12. Now that's a great decision. It's easy and nothing changes on your side. Instead of printing to your current printer, you'll print to a file on your network and let the system do the rest. Once the software has grouped and sorted the print file, it'll notify you that it's ready for printing. This can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of the file and, of course, network speed.
It's important to note, too, that in any given mailing, the second ounce rides free. That's the actual Postal Service term for getting 2 ounces for the price of 1. That equates to about 8 additional pages getting mailed for free.
What if I don't want every statement for that household to go into the same envelope?
The short answer is, if you don't want it to, it won't. The way we deal with this is the assignment of business rules. Now, you can set business rules and standards that the software will follow. The software can act just like you do, making the same decisions you would want it to, just at lightning speed. What will take your people a week to do, the system can literally do in minutes. And the best way to prove this is to show you. So let's do a quick demonstration of a live run.
Let's assume these are tax notices for any county U.S. traveling through our county treasurer solution that works for any mass mailing. After those statements are uploaded with a drag and drop into the software, the process begins. First, grouping of multiple taxpayer documents is performed according to your business rules, where the software will add folder inserter read marks. The addresses are cleansed, and the move updates are completed with assistance from the NCOA link, and ancillary endorsements are placed. Pre-sort is then performed, saving almost 11 cents per piece. The last step prior to printing is the automatic completion of the USPS paperwork. Your statements are then printed, ready for the folder inserter. With a folder inserter, it's as simple as moving your printed statements to the folder inserter and pressing go. There is no hand sorting or stuffing. Let's say you're mailing 30,000 individual pieces this quarter, but only 26,000 different addresses. That should mean you can save 4,000 mailings with grouping. Don't you think that's a lot? If your mailings are costing you a minimum of 39.1 cents per piece, that's 4,000 times 39.1 cents equaling $1,564 in savings every quarter, or $7,820 every year. Now you're starting to see how it can add up.
Time savings is especially important in tax notice preparation because of that protest period or unforeseen circumstances.
Like the assessor didn't get the notices prepared exactly on time?
Yeah, I'm not saying it happens much, but it happens often enough that we need to be aware that it's a real issue. As you know, there's a deadline that each office has to meet so that the taxpayers get their notices prior to the end of the year and still have ample time to pay the property tax.
The time crunch and accuracy issues, as well as the labor requirements, really show up after the printing is completed. You still have to get the tax notices in the envelopes and do it securely and efficiently. This has traditionally taken multiple people in the treasurer's office many days to do. Our system will place either a 2D or BCR code on every statement, communicating to the folder inserter exactly how many pages, and then measure to make sure that only that number of pages are inserted. It counts every page and folds them together at an average rate of 2,500 statements per hour. Let's do some math again. If you have 30,000 tax statements and we insert, fold, and stuff 2,500 an hour, how long will it take to be finished with your tax notice mailing? 30,000 divided by 2,500 equals 12 hours, with 1 to 2 people for less than 2 business days. That's a huge labor savings, especially during tax season. When so many of your taxpayers need information and help with their property taxes, your staff could be helping the taxpayer and not doing the labor for the mailing. Name and address quality has a major impact on the speed of tax collection. When a tax notice is sent to the taxpayer at an incorrect address or an inaccurate address, the speed of tax money collected is significantly slowed. This is also true for invoices. Don't take my word for it. Here's what the United States Post Office says about correct addresses. The U.S. Postal Service address information erodes at a rate of 17% per year. 40 million or more people move every year. An average of 75% of the population moves every 5 years.
With statistics like these, it's only a matter of time before any given address will change. Unfortunately for us, only the taxpayer knows when they're going to move. So wouldn't it make more sense and benefit our businesses more if we were always on our toes and not just waiting until there's a problem?
Name and address quality issues also come as a result of data entry errors or inaccurate addresses. Data entry issues arise typically from the design of fields used for data storage. I'll explain. Here's a look at typical contact and address entry fields. Let's highlight some of the common errors in address data entry. Different uses for multiple street address fields, different abbreviations used, different spellings used, typos, or didn't hear the taxpayer clearly during data entry. So your tax notice address could easily go from this to this.
This shows that even the smallest innocent mistake during data entry can have a lasting impact on your address quality and ultimately the deliverability of tax statements in this case. But it can also be companies delivering goods or invoices. This, of course, delays receiving tax revenue or any other payment. Many counties rely on property tax as their only source of revenue.
Cleansing the address as it's being entered and while stored in the database is how your organization can reduce the impact of data entry errors. Again, our solution to these issues of incorrect and inaccurate addresses is significantly diminished by this software prior to mailing your tax notices or invoices. The software will perform CAS, PAVE, DPV, LAX, and NCOA verifications on all addresses prior to mailing. Bill, what do all those acronyms mean?
They're all the standards and verifications that the U.S. Postal Service uses to deliver your mail to the intended recipient.
That, again, you can have access to prior to the first mailing. You can run all of these processes on your customer addresses and get a full report of any and all changes that can be made or will be made based on the business rules you set.
That's correct.
The majority of county offices around the country do not have shared databases, and the ones that do have shared databases don't have permissions to edit or change the address information on file, even when you know it's wrong.
So let's discuss what our viewers can do and how we can help.
That brings us to e-Certify. In July 2001, the U.S. Postal Service began providing electronic proof of delivery for certified mail labels. This proof of delivery information, including delivery signature, is electronically stored at the USPS Central Data Tracking Center in California and is distributed electronically to each mailer upon request. It was then that the electronic proof of delivery for certified mail was born. However, many of the county offices still use the little green return receipt. So that begs us to ask the question, why? We understand the old-fashioned USPS green return receipt card has been an icon of certified mailers for many years. This courtesy reply card is used to provide the mailer of notification of letter delivered. However, the little green postcard has been difficult for the mailer and the post office to easily manage. Green cards often go missing, lost in the mail, or even stuck inside other pieces of mail. They're difficult to organize, file, and store without significant manual research. Not only is the e-return receipt fast, efficient, and never lost or stuck in another mail piece, but it's also cheaper.
The cost to send a 1-ounce USPS certified mail letter with return receipt or green card is $6.74. The cost to send a 1-ounce USPS certified mail letter with e-return receipt or electronic is only $5.34. That's a savings of $1.40 per piece.
Additionally, with the new IMPB barcode system that the USPS has created, you can get up to 14 different delivery notices, including proof of mailing, en route letter tracking, and final proof of delivery, all authored by the U.S. Postal Service. This type of reporting provides evidence of timely mailing and mailing compliance. Each report contains the USPS certified mail tracking number, name, delivery address, signature, date, and time of delivery. So let's quickly recap this section. You no longer have to manually fill out the green cards for every certified mail piece. USPS authored proof of mailing for every certified mail piece. Up to 14 different scans by the post office, en route letter tracking. Faster delivery. Never missing, lost, or stuck in another mail piece again. No manual research for tracking numbers or who it went to. Online access to the proof of delivery information 24/7. Electronic proof of delivery with signature by recipient. And it saves you $1.40 per piece. So what happens to the green card return receipt from now on?
Who cares?
Now, most of us have paid at least one bill or invoice online. It's really fast and convenient. It's usually just a click or two. And equally important to the organization that sends us the invoice or bill, they get paid much quicker. We all know that electronic adoption rates in all industries are only going to increase every year moving forward. In order to keep up with the growing trend and expectations of the taxpayers, you must be able to send both paper and electronic tax statements moving forward. Many county treasurers believe that once they move to electronic delivery, it's all or nothing, meaning they'll have to send all communications to everyone electronically, and some taxpayers will be holdouts on going electronic mail, so they're just not yet ready to give up on paper communication. We want to discuss a way that you don't have to go all in. Today we introduce a method that allows you to communicate any document any way the taxpayer wants while putting up to half of what you're now spending on traditional paper and at the post office back into your pocket, and with a far better delivery success rate. You can use both paper and electronic delivery at the same time, starting now. Part of our County Treasurer solution includes multi-channel communication, or MCC. It's built to achieve three main goals: faster delivery, lower delivery cost, and increased delivery success. MCC uses a proven opt-in method called e-consent. E-consent manages the entire delivery permission process for you. Using a proven push email delivery method, it effectively migrates your taxpayers from paper-based communication to electronic delivery as their willingness to receive electronic communications increase, effectively turning paper mail or paper tax statements output down. The one-click registration process increases adoption with minimal effort for your taxpayers. The taxpayer decides what they would like to receive electronically, and MCC manages it for you. Monitoring and reporting service is typically bundled with MCC and offers real-time reporting that enables companies to track the status of their electronic communications and easily manage exceptions, or just report, yes, your tax statement has been delivered, and yes, it's been opened, or no, it hasn't been opened or delivered.
ePay options are available too. Optional online payment capabilities can simplify transactions and reduce billing costs. And as more recipients switch to electronic mail delivery, many will also choose to pay online. Our software can link your current online bill pay or help you set up with an ePay service.
One thing that's always on my mind, and I'm sure yours, is security. Customers also want confidentiality and assurance that their email messages come from a legitimate source. Preventing interception of customer information by unauthorized parties should therefore be a key objective in any electronic document delivery project. MCC offers the highest level of trust to both you and your customers through effective sender authentication and recipient identification methods. Remember, it's not just about reducing cost and improving speed of delivery. It's also about doing all of this securely and effectively. Since we've mentioned reduced cost, let's show you the savings examples. The average cost to send a paper tax statement is 75 cents, including paper printing, envelope, and postage, and 35 cents when delivered electronically. That's an average savings of 40 cents per piece, and can be even more with more volume. Let's do the math, remembering county treasurers typically send out tax statements twice yearly. Let's say there's 30,000 of the first half's tax statements. Let's assume that you have a 35% adoption rate. 30,000 times 35% equals 10,500 times 40 cents savings per piece equals $4,200 in savings. Now for the second half's tax statements. There's 8,000 of them. Let's assume that you have a 35% adoption rate at 8,000 times 35% equals 2,800 times 40 cents savings per piece, or a total of $1,120 in savings.
What we're showing you is that as adoption increases, so do your savings, literally putting half or more of the money you're already spending on postage back into your pocket.
Multi-channel communication helps companies manage their customers' communication preferences and maximize their ability to easily send critical customer communications, either through traditional mail or email, and reroute automatically, depending on the outcome of the email. As more and more recipients switch to electronic mail delivery and paying bills online, senders will achieve significant cost savings on paper, printing, postage, and labor. With MCC, companies can utilize a solution that's twice as efficient as traditional physical mail delivery and at half the cost.
Multi-channel communication is the answer. A couple of years ago, before MCC, this solution didn't make sense for most companies.
We've shown what the savings are in each of these sections independently. I can't imagine what the savings will be when all of these solutions are combined.
It can be substantial, and we've placed this bundle with several counties already. Many of those have even been kind enough to be references.
That's impressive. If you'd like more information, you can email info@OMECorp.com or call 1-800-520-7755 and ask for Bill. I want to thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we've explained how simple multi-channel communication can be, as well as the time and money it can save you. You should all know now how to get your documents delivered and opened, as well as getting paid quicker. Now, for any of you that may have questions left or weren't answered by Bill during the webinar, let's get to our final Q&A. For that, I'm turning the controls back over to my co-host. Here's Bill.
Great information, as always. We strive to deliver value in these webinars, so I hope this webinar has been both informative and educational, and that I've answered all your questions. If not, I'll hang around a little longer Just type them in the dialog box and I'll answer as many as possible, or feel free to send an email to our web manager at glc@omecorp.com and I will get it answered. You've really done your fair share of the heavy lifting today, Andy.
Not so much of an afterthought now, am I?
Let's not get carried away here. Or you give a guy a compliment and he just wants to run away with it.